So Anna Maria, you're going to be with Cosmin from Finqware, with Mihael from Iris Solution, Gabriel from Distribution Transformation Program at Czech Bank, Emil from Romanian Post, and Vladimir, of course, from Trovata. Anna Maria, the floor is yours.
So, hello everybody. Thank you for being here at a little bit late. We will discuss about financial inclusion. That is quite an important topic nowadays and is very much linked to financial education and education. We have a very nice panel with representatives from banks, fintechs, and Romanian Post, and I kindly ask my guests to introduce themselves.
Thank you very much, Anna Maria. So first of all, thank you very much for everybody being here. It's very nice to have this off-site meeting of all the banking and fintech in Romania, and not only to be at Ciorîia once a year. Cosma is my name. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Finqware, one of the biggest open banking providers in the Central and Eastern Europe, and also the president of the Romanian Fintech Association.
Yes, thanks, Cosmin. So I'm Pintea. I'm the VP of Engineering for Trovata. So I'm coming from the beautiful city of Chișinău, but actually the company is operating overseas in the North America continent. So I'm representing here the corporate side of things and how we can help these big organizations like Post or banks to basically bring more visibility and bring more inclusion in terms of API usage and customer experience for the end customers.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gabriel Pralea. I'm from Czech Bank. I'm running the sales and distribution network in Czech Bank, and I also co-chairing the transformation program of the bank.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mihaylov. I'm Chief Operation Officer and co-founder of Iris Solutions. Iris Solutions is an open banking provider operating in Southeast Europe, helping banks, merchants, all the people in the fintech industry to embrace the power of open banking and to improve their, results, and also to bring some value to the financial industry at all. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Emil Ciorîia. I am the director of the Bucharest branch of Poșta Romana. And I'm here today just to show the dealing part of the Romanian Post, to be part with the fintechs and banks, how we can bring so many people which are not integrated today in the inclusion of the financial inclusion and financial education.
Thank you. Can you please mention a few key points that are relevant for each of your organization when we discuss about financial inclusion? So from fintech point of view, from bank?
Yeah. So from fintech and from fintech point of view and from open banking point of view, financial inclusion means a better access not to the services of the banks and the financial services, and also making smaller the information asymmetry between the financial provider and the customers. And this is what open banking is doing, is creating, there is this big gap between the financial provider, the bank, and the customer, yeah? Either a person or a business. The bank knows a lot of things, the customer knows smaller information about the money. What does fintech do in its core purpose is to decrease this asymmetry of information between the provider and the customer. And this is by all means inclusion, because it elevates a little bit the customer to the level in which he can negotiate and decide what is the best financial service for him. And yeah, this is, I believe, the core of our endeavors when we are starting to create I don't know, unicorns in fintech space or in open banking. We want a little bit to take the power back to the customer, and that's the purpose of it.
Yeah, so before mentioning open banking in this panel, I would say that the core effort which fintechs are trying to complete here and also help banks and the other corporates to do is to basically educate their customers. Because what Cosmin tries to say is that we are the tipping point of the spear. So basically, fintechs are usually early adopters. 10 to 15% of the whole market is using us and partnering with us and so on. But there is the rest of the market. There is the rest of the people who are underbanked, not educated financially, who don't know that they could leverage all of these financial instruments. And this is where the additional effort should come into educating them, into making those tools and those solutions that we develop as fintechs or the bank products that they develop for those rural areas, underbanked people and so on, who know only the power of the hard cash and they never touch the digital product at all. So this is where I believe the services like postal services could be very helpful. This is where the government could chip in. And there is a very interesting case that I'm bringing back from Republic of Moldova is that we've just launched instant payments. And the effort from the government, it's called MIA, and the effort of the government comes from, hey, let's make that most popular merchants that most of the people are using would be the first adopters of that instant payment scheme. And in that way, basically, people started asking about what is this MIA? A huge marketing campaign was launched at the government level to promote it, and all of the banks launched it on the same day, basically, last year, and it became widely available from day one, and the adoption was crazy. So this is how we believe in a small country it can be achieved easily, and postal services were one of the main drivers of those. Basically, being able to send money from transferring the hard cash, bringing it to the postal office, and sending it via mobile phone. So this is an example of how we can adopt and include people who never used the digital product before.
Thank you. I will pick up from where Vlad left. And zooming a little bit on the financial inclusion, especially in the underserved communities, in the rural area, in the small town area. We, as a state bank, we have in our mission to be present and to serve all type of community, being large community, medium or small community, either in the rural area, where is almost 50% of our branch network, a branch network that exceeds 1,000 branches today. So I think that being present, it's extremely important to make the first steps when it comes to financial inclusion. More than 70% of our network is in the rural area and in the small towns. And the key developments that we see on the financial inclusion side are related to customer-centric approach. I was in another panel a few hours ago, and it was a discussion which is the better strategy, push or pull. In my opinion, we need to touch base the customer and to see which is the reality of the specific community and how we can really address it. Yeah? Because if we are talking about the first-time bank account customer, the process is around, and you heard me also talking last year about this, it's around trust. If you do not trust, it's pretty hard to make this important step. So building a customer-centric approach, it's important. Having an omni-channel model for us, it's also very important because usually it's also in terms of reliability of the service, because you are either having a branch to go with, or you are making your transaction on the mobile app, or you have an extended ATM network. So I would say that, and I will give you an example, a specific example of what does this mean in conjunction with digital transformation, digitization of the processes, the products, the digital flow. This year we managed to, in the rural area, for example, we managed to double the number of onboarding customers compared to 2022, and I'm using this reference because at that moment we had no digital journey at the entire network level, not only in the rural area. So it's extremely important to come up with simple solution, simple flow, speed, simplicity, and convenience. This is, in my opinion, what is supported very well by this hybrid approach, hybrid model, which combines the human interaction or the human touch, as Nick named it early this morning, with the power of the technology. Thank you.
Please allow me to go backwards 30 years ago. I have some remembers 30 years ago. At that time...
We are not all that old.
Yeah, yeah, probably, but 30 years ago, if you go in a bank, you will see that there is no computers inside the bank, and usually a branch of a bank could service no more than 5 or 10 customers per day. It was the beginning of 90s. At this time, some people started to create an open source idea. 10 years later, we had Google. Several years later, we had Android. Now we have artificial intelligence. Almost 30 years later, we have open banking. What was the idea of open source and what was the idea of open banking and open APIs? The idea of open source was to give the ability of all creative people, all IT people, to involve their knowledge and to bring the value to the community, to the whole world. Can every one of us imagine our current life without Google, without Android devices or whatever? Where is going to be iOS without the competition of Google? Now, let's go to financial inclusion and open banking. For me, now the entire concept that banks are the main pillars in Europe is prudential for us and is going to exist, but banks need the support, the knowledge, and they don't have the risk appetite to include and to bring the financial inclusion at the level it should be. With open APIs, they get the value to create new products and to embrace more and more customers in their digital journeys, to improve the knowledge about the customers. The service which the banks are not so willing to provide to some of the customers because of their, how to say, role on the market. The open APIs are the possibilities to bring this financial service to other entities which are ready to do this. I can give you examples with customers that we support in this area. For instance, it's very difficult if you're a small company that started 6 months ago to receive a bank loan. Am I right? Yeah. And if I'm a non-bank lending institution and I risk my money to provide loans, I can do that. This is my risk appetite, I can do that. But I lack the knowledge of the bank and all that other stuff. So with open banking, we provide the ability of these companies to finance the small companies which are in the beginning of their journey. Later, they will become customers of the banks. After the second year, they will go to the bank, they will take the loan, and so on and so on. For my understanding is that 30 years later, after the open source idea and the idea to involve everybody in the process of developing IT, developing the possibility of IT, now we have the ability to unlock the power of financial institutions to develop the financial services on the next level using the knowledge outside of the bank, using the technology outside of the banks, staying on the sustainability and trust of the bank. And the open APIs are the bridge between the banks as the financial stability systems and the knowledge outside of it.
I will invite you to know a little bit more about the Romanian Poșta Română. We have big numbers in activity, like having 162 years of activity and having one of the hugest network in Romania, like 5,000 units, which are served by 3,000 front desk employees and 14,000 field employees. We are practically in two worlds, the digitalized world and the one in the rural where only cash is the only method for payment. And we saw that the accessibility, it is one of the main and one of the most important points to reach out on the financial inclusion. But we saw also that the partnership, the strategic partnership, and here I will mention the strategic partnership which we have with Visa and with CAC, with the Czech Bank. We just started. Through API, of course, we did interconnect our devices. Romanian Post, it's now on the path of modernization, just bought more than 9,000 PDAs, which are serving more than 9 million clients each month. And here I will give just a strong example about PDAs and digitalization through the PDAs. In 1 year time, just the first year what Romanian Post experienced with the PDAs made more than 5 million transactions with totaling more than 170 million euro. And that was just an example, just the first year. Now we are preparing, and I will echo my colleagues here that actually the technology integration will be the key of success and the collaboration between all the parts, banks, fintechs, and of course, Poșta Română.
It's very nice to speak about financial inclusion in a fintech panel, but the real truth is that it is at the core of the fintech promise. Why? So I want to tell you a story. There were 2 years ago or 3 years ago here in Ciorîia, and I was with my family, and it was a little bit cold, and I didn't have a cap, and I wanted to go to a little shop to pay with the card, that cap. Yeah, the cap was 25 RON. 25 RON, it was very cheap cap, just to put it against the cold. And I said, I want to pay with the card. Yeah, there were the guys before us here. Yeah, the old school of payments. And I said, I want to pay with the card. And the seller said, yes, but it's only 25 RON. And the minimum commission by my POS is 5 RON. So if I'm selling you with the card, then I will be losing money. Yeah? This is also financial inclusion. The fact that you cannot pay with the POS in Ciorîia because the cost of a card transaction is bigger than the margin that the merchant does. Yeah? So here it is the API and open banking coming, like Mihael said, because we can decrease right now with open banking and the account-to-account payments the cost of that cap and the profit that the seller does it. And also Ghiță, the shepherd, you know, from Sibiu Mountains that we had with the smartphone in Romanian advertisements, he has his smartphone and a broadband there in the woods, but doesn't have a bank branch, and neither a Romanian post office there. Yeah. So the most important thing that all the financial providers should provide is APIs. Forget about your stores, forget about your devices and whatever applications. Make that greatly APIs, and then the market and the fintech will start to make real financial inclusion to the people.
And do you think that such a change might be driven by regulators?
So we just had, a couple of panels back, or during this morning, we had like a really nice panel of all of the regulating bodies and people who contribute to those regulations. And basically, all of them in one voice were saying like PSD3 will be more strict than the PSD2. And it will solve some issues, but it will raise the barrier of entry even more than it was before. So I would like to basically say that no, I don't believe that regulation will help with that. And we have like real examples of that. So the MENA region, the North Africa region, they do have pretty open regulations there. They said like the central banks is in control of everything. The problem is that the adoption is really, really low. And again, going back into like the barrier of entry and like the layer of education and openness and so on, the goal here is to build cheap interfaces, easy to use interfaces, as easy as you basically come into that shop that Cosmin has mentioned, or back a year ago in Oradea at the conference, there was a guy who was doing something from leather, and like you want to buy that piece, but he says like it's either cash or Revolut because this is pretty easy for me to use. I have my phone number, I basically give you my card and you send me money, and it's cheap. There are like lowest fees because we're within the same network and so on. So this is how I believe we should treat like openness and the banking services. They should be easy to use, very low barrier of entry, intuitive in their realization. So basically, us having internet, us having phones, that should be the main interface.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I want to hitchhike a little bit, and I believe the regulators should do their job, because the most important motivation of the financial conservative ecosystem is fear. Yeah? If there is a little bit of fear from the regulator, then there is a little bit of move from the banks.
So I believe Romanian Post has a pretty good leverage on the market in terms of the volumes that you've just mentioned. So you taking a technology and building that simple interface with the partnering banks or payment service providers that you are using, including Bleak, like I believe the guys here like have really great traction. So you basically leveraging that against the market, the open market, you can basically say, hey, regulators, like it's pretty hard for me to sign a paper with each customer that is coming to my postal service, and getting that paper and show it to some regulatory body, that's not scalable. Let's simplify, let's make it digital. Let's use mobile phones, digital ID cards, and so on. And us using that technology will help that a lot. So we believe that there is a way of doing that. And as Cosmin is saying, like, bring the regulators to the market and say, hey, this is how it should work. Let's build the regulation that will help us do so. Because right now, and I believe Cosmin can support me here, it's unusable. You cannot scale, you cannot go abroad, you cannot build real solutions, easy solutions on a big scale right now, because you should hop through all of those obstacles that they built up.
The hope is the last that dies. Yeah? Speranța moare ultima.
I will, I will repeat myself. I think that also bringing this simple solution towards the customers means there is the need of an interaction point that it's provided to the customer, the other side of the fear, which is the trust, on the other side of the room. For sure, Romanian Post can do it because you are interacting with millions of people each month. We can do it, the banks in general can do it. In some points, only Czech Bank and the Postal Bank, Romanian Post is present. In the rural area, currently we have 60% penetration of banking services. Only 60% of the people that could have a bank account is currently having a bank account. And if we look on the reasons for this happening, the main reasons, or a significant part of the reason, is related to the fact that indeed they are receiving money cash, or they can only pay cash. So large part of the transaction can be done only via cash. There are also some information related to reasons related to the level of income that needs to make for sure let's say the banking services and the electronic payments affordable. So I would still emphasize the fact that we need for sure to have a more that simplicity, speed, which is also bringing trust, because you are doing it instantly, so they see that this is happening and they build trust. I really think that we also need to take care of how we are bringing this adoption into the market. The combination, again, of the human interaction, of easy-to-use technology and then affordable technology can bring this level even higher. We have moved this percentage from roughly, I think it was 60% prior to pandemics in 2020 to 70% all across the country, so including the urban area. But from this point on, I think that we should leverage on these key elements.
Because you said, what about the regulator? We are the licensed payment institution operating under the supervision of Bulgarian National Bank. I can share from my perspective. Regulator is part of the equation. It's part of the puzzle, but it has its role, but it's not the main role. You need the regulator to support you in order, if you want to have a working APIs, working open banking, and in order to support the API-driven financial relations. But surely you need the merchants who are constantly requiring, as a customers, who are constantly looking for better solutions. That's why the question of previous discussion was what we should provide to the merchants, to the customers, how we can improve their performance, their revenues. Because with the solutions that we have managed to develop, we managed to cut significantly the cost of the merchants. And these money are staying here. They stay in European economy, they are invested here. In order to get this interest of the merchant, we have created an app that allows our customers to generate a payment request with 2 clicks and to receive payment based on QR code just with clicks. We officially launched it 2 days ago, and we already have 25 requests for merchants to use it. Because the example that Cosmin gave is very, very sorry, my English is not so good.
Powerful.
Powerful, yeah. Such kind of merchants, they're totally unserved. Totally unserved. On the other hand, you have the support of the competition, because if you have the merchant, you have the regulator, and you have the competition of companies like Revolut, who have created a perfect UX for their customers in all their different channels of payment. The bank started to compete each other. My observation, for instance, mainly are the market in Bulgaria, but we see that when Revolut launched their payment and their APIs and they are working perfectly well, most of the banks there created the same user flow. They even call us and say, guys, what we have to do to reach the level of performance of APIs of the one that Revolut are doing. And now banks like KBC, like Unicredit, like OTP, they develop the same performance of the APIs. And this is important to bring value to the market. So yes, regulator has his role, but this is job of all of us, of the banks institution, of TPPs, of the merchants, of all of us playing the game.
Yes, I'm again echoing my colleagues. I think the regulators knows very well that the one which is present in the near to the door of a potential customer and collecting taxes or making payments instantly that will help and will support us is just a matter of collaboration between, again, integration of technologies, fintech, banks, and the one which is present at the door of the client, which is Poșta Română.
I would like to ask you something and to tell a little bit to the people, to the person in the audience, how we collaborate with the regulator in Romania, Romanian Fintech Association in the ROBI workshop, and explain, because maybe there are even some banks that don't understand why the National Bank of Romania are asking them about the API quality, and it's not because somebody does complaints, but Romanian Fintech Association does some reports. Let them know a little bit.
So Romanian Open Banking Initiative, ROBI, we called that our working group, is a very interesting initiative launched by Romanian Fintech Association. Is a partnership with National Bank of Romania, and we would like to believe that is a partnership with the banks also. Is focused on open banking area, but it is a good example and can be extended also upon other industry, and is a great example of cooperations between, I think, institutions that are quite opposite, fintechs on one hand and National Bank, but is something that is working, and I think it can be scaled.
So each and every month, we are putting together the problems, the quality problems and the availability of the APIs of the Romanian banks. And we collaborate in finding the issues and the potential solutions to that issues. And then we send to the National Bank of Romania a report in which everything that happened in the last month is reflected there. And then National Bank of Romania has the freedom and liberty to do whatever they need to do with that information, because it's a feedback from the market, from us as a market. And we really saw that in the last half a year, the quality of the APIs increased. Maybe we hope also because of this endeavor of Romanian Fintech Association.
Yeah.
And Anna is the manager, the coordinator of this working group.
And I think we have a red flag from Alex, and the last short question, very short. If you could make a prediction about the future on short term, maybe 5 years from now, what would you see as next steps or some quick wins? Maybe there are not there are not very quick, but anyway, what do you see as further steps to improve the financial inclusion in Romania?
I think the key word, it is collaboration. If we want to reach financial inclusion and to have that side of the country which does not have access to financial services, it is just through one action, collaboration, and I think we will light up the path. This is one thing. And for the rest, we are hoping that the technology will remain as secure as is now, because we saw it. It is something which grows every day, and we see it on the activity field. So I remain very trustful on that collaboration between all the actors which are today here. And Of course, the technology, which we tested already with tap to phone and with soft POS from the banks and from Visa, it is the future. We are stepping into the future now on the sides where the financial services weren't present up to now. 40% of Romania, it is on the rural area without access of financial services. It's just Czech bank, the one present on the middle rural. Deepest on the deep rural is nobody, it's just the PDA, which is connected on 5G and can instantly make any transaction like a standalone bank.
For me, financial inclusion is not only to cover the unbanked people, but to provide additional service to already banked people. Because I don't know the official data about the Romanian market, but I suppose the picture is not quite different from the one in Bulgaria. A lot of Bulgarians are not investing in shares, in bonds, in whatever, because the market is not mature, because the people have no idea that it's a possibility, and so on and so on. So I'm totally agree that collaboration is the word. We have the technology, the market is already there. I see that the time is up, so I will not go any further, but we should be more open-minded and more open to work together, merchant, business, banks, fintechs, in order to bring value to whole the community. And it's going to stay for us, to all of us.
So I see the screen is red. I will try to be very fast. First of all, I think that we still have a significant potential in leveraging what digital banking is bringing to the market. And I really agree that it's not only about non-bank customer, but also it's increasing the level of financial inclusion also for the existing bank customer. So I think that we need to keep this pace, because what we see that is bringing easiness, simplicity, and also in terms of result, the market is moving really well. Second, I think that for the next year, account-to-account payment will be also a significant opportunity for the bank and for supporting the financial inclusion. We are talking about P2P, but P2B is also on the way, so this would also help. And second of all, I think that we should be aware of the fact that one size does not fit all. So we need to be able to, and it's a very used term in financial services right now, to go towards hyper-personalization based on the power of data.
Very brief.
I will be
Vlad.
really short.
Thank you so much, Vlad.
So the future is AI. So don't be afraid, use AI, use it everywhere, use it in the bank, at the postal services, in fintechs and startups. We saw pretty awesome use cases, simple interfaces. So AI is the power of the future. Let's not be afraid of it.
Thank you.
The fintechs don't take the bread from the banks. Fintech is not banking. So the banks should do their job, banking, and let us build interfaces, applications, and whatever we need to do in order for the customers to consume easier your banking services. Don't invest millions of euros in whatever application because you'll miss it. Make APIs.
What about you, Anna Maria? What's your prediction for the next 5 years?
I agree with Vladimir that AI is a powerful tool, that we will learn how to use it. And the second element, I think I would bet on, is simplicity. If we want to touch people that are not familiar with financial services, they are not skilled or very well educated in that space, we need to provide them something that is very simple to use and understand.
Thank you so much. Awesome
Thank you.
panel. Thank you,
all.
Anna Maria, for the moderation.